Welcome back to Good Morning, LaLa. I am absolutely so honored to have this gentleman here today. We're talking about suicide prevention. He personally has sold over 400,000 books. He has an extraordinary podcast, just did a documentary all on suicide prevention and really hearing the story of human beings. Dr. Mark Goulston is in the house. I am so thrilled you're here. Such an honor to meet you in person finally.
You know, one of the best things about having people say nice things about you, it gives you something to live up to.
It's a nice way of receiving a compliment. Right. I love that.
So we had a really beautiful conversation right before the show, and we were talking about how acknowledging people, whether they're having suicidal thoughts, whether they're going through hurt, whether they're going through fear, whether they're going through whatever, it's the acknowledging that is that the common denominator that you've found with healing people?
Well, I think it's going to where they're at. So frequently people are trying to fill out protocols, and I was fortunate. After my training, I didn't work for an institution because I realized when I was checking boxes and I looked into the eyes of suicidal people, their eyes would be saying, you're checking boxes and I'm running out of time. So I got rid of the boxes and I started learning how to listen into people's eyes. After Anthony Bourdain killed himself, I wrote a blog called Why People Kill Themselves, It's Not Depression, got 500,000 views, 70,000 reads. And I said, you know, depression contributes to it. Loss of job, loss of a marriage contributes to it. But at the end, one of the things that nearly all suicidal people have in common is they feel despair. And if you break the word despair into D-E-S-P-A-I-R, it means feeling unpaired with hope, hopeless, helpless, worthless, powerless, useless, meaningless. And when they all line up, you feel things are pointless and you pair with death to take the pain away. Mm-hmm. And if you can find a way to pair with people in the dark night of their soul without trying to institute any treatment, which pushes them away, right, they literally start to cry with relief. And the key is you're not making them cry, you're letting them cry. And as you feel the relief come out, it's going to rise and then fall, and they're actually going to be able to calm down and start to think.
Right.
So, Dr. Mark, I think it's really important. You mentioned 6 steps to interventional empathy, starting with whoa. Let's talk about these 6 steps.
Yeah, in interventional empathy, and this is also something I do to train law enforcement. So if you can picture that someone's agitated, let them finish what they're saying, and then the first thing you say to them is, whoa. And what that means is you're trying to stop their behavior. And they're often going to go, what? And say something that I guess we could use it on this show, but yeah, and they'll say, what? Whatever. And then, but they re-engage, and then you go, shh. And so the first thing is to slow down their behavior. The second thing is to quiet their mind. And we've changed it a little bit. And then after that, you have their attention, and you say to them 3 words. And they're going to look at you, what? But they're not going to push you away because you brought them down so they can listen to you. And you say, and if it's a suicidal person, you say, yeah, 3 words. Frustrated, angry, and I can't take it anymore. Talk to me. But can you see how what you're doing is you're going into where they are, calming them down, and then giving them the words that they can feel.
But Dr. Mark, I think that it's amazing that what we resist persists. So you have this brilliant way of not resisting that and just really acknowledging somebody. But I beg to say that it's your consciousness, that you probably have done so much work to have a clearing out, that you're staying in such a non-judgmental place that you're able to create that miracle for people. You said that literally people have not, how many people have you worked with that were suicide and not one person has taken their life?
That's probably hundreds.
You're profound. Your work is profound. Your book, Just Listen, is a must read. You have a podcast called Wake Up Calls. You've interviewed some of the greatest masters in this arena. You are clearly the consciousness that's healing. What did you do to yourself to have this consciousness?
Well, there's always a backstory. So one of my greatest personal accomplishments is I dropped out of medical school twice and finished. And when I dropped out, I think I had untreated depression. And the second time I dropped out, they wanted to kick me out because they were losing matching funds. And the dean of students called me. He said, I have a letter here from the main person who you met with, which is all about fundraising. And he said, you better come in here so we can read this. So I go in there, and I'm at a low point. And he says, read the letter. And I read the letter, and it says, from the dean of the school, we've met with Mr. Goulston, talked about an alternate career, perhaps the cello, and I'm advising the promotions committee that he be asked to withdraw. And so it was my good fortune that I was so far gone that I didn't come back with some flippant, sarcastic thing. They can't do that. I'm passing everything. And I didn't get really pathetic. It was like a gunshot wound. And I know what that feels like because I had a perforated colon, almost died about 10 years ago. And when he said that to me, I went, and I'm not that spiritual, but it's like a resurrection moment because I started feeling my cheek and I thought I was bleeding. I just kept looking at it like this. And it was tears. And so imagine you're at a low point and your mindset is you're only worth what you do, what you can produce. And I was unable to do anything. So imagine you hear this, where you come from sort of a conditionally loved background, like most of us do. And this angel, you'll see it in my face, this angel, the dean of students, he said, Mark, you didn't screw up, but you are screwed up. But if you get unscrewed up, I think the school would be one day glad they gave you another chance. So I start crying now because he's pummeling me with kindness. And then here's the clincher. He said, and even if you don't get unscrewed up, even if you don't become a doctor, even if you don't do another thing the rest of your life, I'd be proud to know you. Because you have a streak of goodness in you that we don't grade in medical school.
Yeah.
And you don't know how much the world needs that goodness, and you won't know it till you're 35, but you're going to make it till you're 35. And you deserve to be on this planet, and you're going to let me help you.
You've done so much work. You just did the documentary, the famous gentleman, Stay
Kevin
Alive.
Hines.
Yes, Stay Alive. Tell us a little bit about the documentary.
So you can find it on YouTube. It's free. If you go to youtube.com/Stay Alive video, you can find it. And we interviewed Kevin Hines. Kevin Hines jumped off the Golden Gate Bridge. He's a CNN champion of change. They did a piece on him and his jumping off the Golden Gate Bridge. And we drilled in to what was going on inside his head. And really what it comes down to is people feel totally alone. They feel unpaired. And when you compare with them, suffering is feeling alone in pain. And when you compare with people and help them feel less alone, suffering they can't live with becomes pain they can.
It's brilliant, called compassion, right? To be with the pain.
To be with the pain.
You are a brilliant, compassionate man. Thank you for all your beauty, all your light. You've done so much work and you've touched so many people. How can people find you and follow you? Find your work.
Well, go to youtube.com/Stay Alive video. There's the whole video, plus it's broken down into episodes. Also, I have a podcast called My Wake Up Call, where we talk to people about what really matters to them most and their journey and wake-up calls to get there.
Love that. So great.
Thank you.
You're waking up.
We are waking up the world together on Good Morning LaLa and live Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. All these interviews are available as a podcast on iTunes, and the whole show is streaming on EverTalk TV, now available on Apple TV and Roku.
Have a beautiful divine day.
It's going to be a Good Morning LaLa land.